Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me here at the Wood. This is a brilliant event, and I'm nervous. I'm after shaky. It's really scary, and as you can see, I've already started pacing, which scares me a lot. Okay, so I'm going to talk about something that's really close to my heart, and it's going to be hopefully a little bit controversial, or maybe a little bit controversial. I'm going to talk about why play matters in a games festival. And I want to introduce a little bit who I am. I'm from Spain. I've been living in Denmark for 11 years. I teach at the university a bunch of things, but I teach mostly game design and play design, even though I'm the worst game designer ever. But you know, at least I know what I can do, so I can teach people what they shouldn't do. And I also do other things. I'm a researcher, which I showed my first book. There's a second book now. Now comes the commercial part. I have a second book coming up in the autumn, also on ethics. It's going to be called Beyond Choices. And what I'm going to present here is sort of the 15-minute version of a new book, which has no publisher yet, but it's finished. So if you really want to, you can read it about play. Because that's the thing. I've been studying games for 11 years now, a little bit more, 13. They've made my life difficult. I live very comfortably. I'm a tenured professor, so I educate. I can basically sit down and laze all day and do nothing. That's what they give with tenure. So I owe my livelihood to games, particularly to video games, right? And that's why it's sort of really interesting to me when the opportunity of giving a talk at Wood came up, right? Because I thought, brilliant, right? I've been preaching for some time that we should stop looking at screens when we play games. That games should be, or video games should be more like computer games, like a game that is run on a computer, and forget the video side. And then the opportunity to speak here came up, and I think it's a brilliant event, right? It kind of matches my interest initially. So what's going to be brilliant is for the next couple of days, you're all going to go out there, and you're all going to play. Oh, and by the way, I forgot, I have to warn you. I'm going to be talking about German philosophy and Soviet literary theory. So if you want to go out and play, do it now. Right? Because you're stuck with me otherwise. It's terrible. Anyway, so when the opportunity to talk here came up, I thought, okay, so I'm going to be talking about games then. And how sort of we can go out and play all these games. And then, so that got me thinking that, well, basically, we've been doing that forever, right? Like Richard showed, animals do it, but humans do it all the time. We go out and we play. You've done it since you were more or less born, since you were 6 to 8 months. You start going out and play. You sort of relate to the world by playing. So that sort of got me thinking, okay, so this is a street games festival, and we are supposed to go out and play games. So again, that sort of triggered some of my new alarms in my head. So I thought, like, why is it so special? What is it that makes Wood so special? And if we go out and we play games together. Okay, so that's really special. Let's think a little bit about it. And you probably have heard that this is a popular thing to do right now. Play games. We all like playing games. We all like making games. We all think that games are probably the dominant art form and the entertainment form of the 21st century. Eric Zimmerman said that we are entering the ludic century, the century in which games will take over other media as the frame of reference for aesthetic expression. And furthermore, for the next couple of days in all these talks, you're going to get tons of people here telling you how cool games are, right? So how often do we hear that games can teach you how to be good leaders? So play World of Warcraft and you'll become a CEO. Or, play adventure games and you'll learn how to spell. Play Farmville and you'll learn mathematics. Play X or Y game and you'll learn something. We are giving enormous powers to the object of games, right? And to me that's great, right? That's fantastic. And you're going to listen to a lot of those things that are really cool and really brilliant throughout this weekend. And if you're attuned a little bit to sort of game culture and game studies, that's not what you're going to be listening to. Like how games are brilliant and awesome and expressive and personal and everything else. They are art, they are not art, they are all everything in between, right? We all love playing games. Okay, so let me just, I don't really kind of like games. I know this is a confession, but it's just, so it's true, right? So it's really, really, really cool to play games. But what is it that we are thinking when we are looking at this sentence, right? Play games. That's what we are thinking. That's the frame of mind that we constantly have. Games, the noun. I think that's great. That's fantastic. So this is a beautiful art piece by a Canadian artist called Nathalie Quagliardo, and she's been going around taking pictures of broken and abandoned playgrounds. And I think one of the things that makes this piece beautiful is how it shows. This is a sad picture, right? But why is it sad? It's an object we cannot play with anymore. It's abandoned. It's dropped. It does not fulfill its purpose anymore. And I think what's evocative about this picture is that it puts the right stress on what matters. The objects matter, yes, but they don't matter necessarily for what they are or how they are constructed. They matter for other things. Because when we think about playing games, we think about all these things. We think about passion, about expression, about engagement, about learning, about being with others. Right? And we are doing that by thinking through things. Which is great. But I think it's wrong. Because I don't like games. And hopefully by the end of this talk I'll convince you don't like games either. Mind. So I put the following slide, I put it once, and it's on the internet. It's one of the few pictures of me that you can find on the internet. So I'm going to do it again. This talk actually essentially should be entitled Fuck Games. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with games as such, but what I want is to smash the object. Make you all forget about the thing called games. It's just a thing, it's an object. By focusing on things, we can build, we can create, that's true, we can learn tons of tools, we can manipulate, we put new things in the world. But is that what matters? Is that what really matters, the object, the thing? Or is it going to fight by the end up abandoned, like that swing, or like that element of the playground? Is it going just to be dropped? And yet we are still going to express ourselves with a certain activity. Are we going to, be thinking, be acting, be doing things that are creative and expressive and learning? Are we going to be playing games, even though the objects will just be forgotten? Of course. Because my argument today, and what I'm going to convince you, is that we are putting the stress on the wrong side. All of us. Me the first one. So, here it goes, all my life. Forget about games and put the stress on play. Why do we think, why have I used 11 years of my life thinking about a noun? When the exciting things happen in a verb, right? We are humans, we do things. We also build things, right? But what we do is we do things. So I want to change the stress of thinking about games and moving it into thinking about play. And what is play and all these things. And of course, there's a bunch of people that have done that before, like Huizinga, Aloha, and Saturn Smith. And so I'm inscribing to that history. I'm inscribing to this history of people who think about playing effectively. But what I'm going to present today is a little bit of an alternative take on why play matters, right? Because we are very, very deeply tempted when we think about why play matters to immediately start thinking about the objects with which we play. Playing, playing Johann Sebastian Bach's, which I'm going to be talking about in a second. It's great because the object affords this kind of beautiful community and beautiful takeover of the space. So when we think about games that create a community and create this kind of local beauty through engaging in play, we immediately think about the game, right? Think about the activity. why is Joust beautiful? Or the same, why is Lost Cities a beautiful game of 2 players? Right? It's not the game system, it's what happens when we play. That game only matters if you play against somebody you care about. The game is sort of secondary. What matters is the person you sit with. 2-player games are everything about setting that connection between 2 people. The same as multiplayer games are everything about the connections that are created among the people that are playing. Of course, there's an object, and the object needs to be fun and engaging and all those things. But the things that matter, the things that we take from them, do not happen on a screen. They happen outside. They happen on an activity. They happen when we play. And that's what I'm trying to give you a vocabulary, so you figure out finally that we don't like games as such. So this is basically what I want to convince you about. So why play matters. And I want to do that by 2 movements. The first one is a theoretical one, because by the end of the day, I'm still an academic. I'm still a professor. I like talking about German philosophers. So hopefully you'll survive. And the second part of my argument about why play matters will give you 4 keys as to what elements of play are engaging. And of course, because you're all designers of things, and that's great, you could think about these elements as the situations, the context, the activities, the emotions that you want to create by designing these games or toys or playful activities or any other thing. But I also hope that I'm going to expand the universe of what we understand by play. Because we have this sort of deep game-centric culture right now, every time we talk about play, we immediately think about games. And hopefully in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 90 minutes, every time I say play, you're going to be thinking about games and sex and flirting and work and everything else. Because that's why play matters. But let me start by being obnoxiously irritating and talking about philosophy. Because I'm a philosopher by trade. But don't worry, I'm going to be talking about the philosopher that everybody read when they were 16 and nobody understood. That's Nietzsche. So let me start by talking about Nietzsche and the birth of the tragedy. And that's why I brought toys. So just if you're bored, then I'll show you why you're bored. So anyway, one way of thinking about why play matters is to think about what is it that actually happens when we are playing, right? So let me start. Nietzsche started an interesting philosophical work by thinking about the nature of tragedy, or the origins of tragedy. And he basically claimed that the origins of tragedy in Greece, or the tragedy is a synthetic form in which the 2 main elements of Greek literature were combined. These are Lego pieces. For those of you in the back who are not going to be able to see what I'm doing. Duplo pieces, sorry. So Nietzsche was basically arguing that tragedy is a synthesis of 2 moves. The first one is what he called the Apollonian move, the world of architecture and sculpture, the world of order, the world of pieces that stick very well together with each other. And basically, my argument is that play has a strong affinity with the Apollonian move of Greek history. We all like pieces that match together with other pieces. How many of you like the games by Reinhard Nietzsche? How many of you like games that actually make sense? Maybe that was very obscure. Like if you like Euro games, you love the pleasure of all those systems clicking together. Starship Pilgrim is a beautiful game of systems clicking together. Right? That's what we enjoy through play. We enjoy a limited, bound world of order. We enjoy a world in which all the pieces can be joined together, they make sense, and through them we are able of making something. Something that takes longer than what I expected, so now I have to maybe I can talk about the weather. Anyway, so I guess you all have the same, or this intuitive, feel that play is, on one hand, one of the things we like about play is this sense of order. this sense of control, this sense of a bounded world that when we are playing makes sense and our activities make sense. They have a purpose, they have a meaning, they have an order, they give a direction to our lives. And we do. Right? But that's not what play is about, right? What is it that you're thinking I'm going to do? What is it that you're all thinking and actually really, really need to do? Smash it! Play is also about cadence. Play is about building the highest tower and then picking it and seeing it crumble and fall. Johann Sebastian Joust is a beautiful game of keeping distance and moving away. Slowly and then fast, right? But it's also a beautiful game to push somebody you don't like or even you like. To kick somebody in the nuts. Just because you don't say it, you do that. Games and play have this temptation, this fascinating temptation for disorder. They build these beautiful, orderly systems, and then they open up for breaking them, for getting drunk and destroying them. The temptation of cheating, playing Monopoly, and being the bank, and just moving, doing a Lehman Brothers, just moving a little bit of my side and the other side. Playing cards and counting them. What's the pleasure in it, right? It's not about the random, it's about bringing disorder and chaos. In Nietzschean words, we bring the Dionysian element, the element of lyrical poetry, which is really fun. For Nietzsche, tragedy combined order and chaos. The beautiful sculptures and the drunkenness of poetry. And that's exactly what play is. Play is the beauty of the system and the temptation of breaking it. Play is walking that very careful line constantly and keeping that equilibrium. And what's beautiful is doing it with other people. So that's one of the things that I think make play a really, really important human experience, but also a way of being in the world. This careful tension between being in the world in order, but also seeking and enjoying chaos. The second element I wanted to talk about comes from literary theory, and this is a scholar called Miguel Sicart who wrote about the origins of modernity and why we live in this kind of modern world in which authorities are relative and we can basically go out and complain and so on. And one of his arguments was that this notion of modernity of the modern human being started with the carnivals in the Middle Ages. The only time in history where you could go out and make fun of the church. And I know what I'm talking about, because in my country we still can't do that. We don't have any carnivals in Spain. We go around carrying the virgins. But we have those 2 days of carnival, right? And what is the carnival? If not taking this order, taking this structure, taking these situations, and poking fun of them. What is carnival if not putting on a mask and making fun of people? They are playing. That's why play matters, because it's not restricted to games. One of the most beautiful events in recent protest history, I think, is when Anonymous went to during the Project Chanality events in 2008 and 2009, they went to the headquarters of the Scientology Church in London and they re-rolled them live. So they went with boomboxes and they were playing with Ashley in front of them. And they were playing. And of course, the second the church complained, the argument was clear. Wait, we're wearing masks. Why are you taking us seriously? Right? They bring the drunkenness, they bring the disorder. Playing is putting these masks on that allows us to be free, to take over any kind of situation or context and flip it, play with it. That's why play matters, because it gives us these masks. That's why play can be political. Not because we can build a game and play how hard it is to be poor or how hard it is to be rich. Play matters because it allows us to make fun, to poke, to critique, and also to join temporarily and not for real all these organizations that we want to critique. That's why play matters, because it gives us these masks. So these are the two sort of philosophical things of play, and now I have 1 minute to explain the 4 characteristics of play. The things that you can take away whenever you are thinking about building things. What is it that which way of engaging this deep experience of play? How can you sort of take that with you? So first of all, play is enormously creative. And I think I always talk about this goal. This is the best goal in football history. Maradona against the English, 1986. He single-handedly scored against everybody. So dribbled everybody and scored. There's no place in the rules of football that explains that move. It just emerges. It's a creation. It's a pure move of creativity. The same goes with any other game you find out there and any other play activity. Lego allows you to create whatever you want. Yaos will allow you to create these kind of beautiful dance-alike situations. Play is all about creating, about taking a position in the world and making something. And by that creation, you're also expressing yourselves. This is Anne Hamilton's, I have a title here. Anyway, this is an art piece, okay, I don't have it there, so I have it here, called The Event of a Thread. This was a context, not really an artist, displayed at the Armory in New York, where she basically connected all these strings to that curtain that was falling. And what was interesting is that by just giving people toys, the artist allowed people to express themselves. There's a beautiful video online where you can see people, sharing intimacies while they are swimming back and forth, or being childish again. That's what play allows us to do. Think about everything else that you do in your daily life that is not play, and how boring it is. How much can you express yourself through work, or parenthood, or any other thing? I mean, you can do it. But it's not this kind of raw expressive power that play has. Play lets you do things and say things and create new things. It's an expressive force. It's also, and most importantly, an appropriative force. And that's what I mean by the politics of play. Boomboxing, or rerolling Scientology. That's brilliant. So this is what wood is about, right? The city is not anymore theirs, it's ours to play with. It's also what parkour artists do, what graffiti artists do, what skaters do. They are all playing, they are all taking over. That's what play lets you do. It allows you to take over, to appropriate whatever is happening and flip it, or express yourself through it. That's why play is not confined to games. Yes, we play through games, but we play through many other things. We play at work. We play when we are flirting. We play when we are in a bar. We play when we are having sex. We play all the time when we want to be expressive and creative, because we take over a situation. And finally, this is a sentence that I'm stealing from Brandon Boyer, whom I don't know, but thanks for saying this. All play is personal. Right? When we get away from playing games and with toys and in the city, it's not, nobody goes around saying like, oh, the beauty of the loss of the rules of basketball allowed me to enjoy these 45 minutes this afternoon. What you remember is the time where you scored a three-pointer in the last second, where you shoved your friend so he couldn't score. Right? It's the same. The beauty, the craft of some board games, of some toys, is there because it allows us to take a place in the world. That's why play matters, because it's personal, and that's what we take from it. It's a deeply personal thing. So those are the 4 elements of play that I think matter, and that's why I don't like really games. What I like is to play. And unlike what many others might say, don't go out there and make games. What you should do is go out there and make people play, because that's what matters. Thanks.